Okay, so we're going to be doing an artist study on the artist Heine today. So the first thing you're going to need to do is to get your image and to fold it into 4 even sections. Like so, so that when you open it back up, you've got kind of a cross down the centre like so. You can now pop that to one side and now grab your pencil and your ruler. And what you're going to do into your books, you're going to draw a square or a rectangle. So let's do it 10 centimetres by, let's go for 12 centimetres. Like so. Then what you're going to do is you're going to divide your box into 4 even parts, just like you've done for your photo. What you're then going to do is fold the image so that you can see just one section of it. So I'm going to start with the top left hand side, and then you're going to look at this and draw it into this box here. Now, what I do to help me to make sure that the proportions are accurate is I look for sort of significant parts within the image. So for example, I'm going to look at the top part of this helmet. So I'm going to sort of mentally mark out how far down that helmet needs to leave that sort of edge line here. And then I'm going to try and mimic that on my work. So if I'm looking at the top of the helmet, I can see that that is in line with, if that was sort of halfway, maybe that was a quarter, it's sort of just above. So if I know that's halfway, that's a quarter, I'm going to say that line needs to go about there. So what I've done is I've just left a little tab on the top of my sort of the edge of that line, and I know that the helmet needs to sort of leave that line at that mark. I'm now going to look for another sort of significant area of the image. I'm going to look at so what I can do now is if I take my image and use my pencil, and what I'm doing is I'm laying my pencil against the angle I can see here. So if I lay that against like that, and then I know that my line needs to follow that same angle. So if I put my pencil against here, so I know my pencil line needs to follow that same angle. If I then pull my pencil across to my image, I know it needs to sort of go up like that. So I'm going to mimic it, and then I can use my pencil to double check that line. Yep, perfect. What you're then going to do is open up your image and then move on to the next angle, and then you're going to repeat this for each of the boxes. Okay, so once you're happy with the outline of your image, what you're going to do next is you're going to start to add some tone. So for this, you are going to need a 4B pencil. To begin with, I would recommend working from the darkest tones, then onto the mid-tones, and then onto the light tones. So the first thing you're going to need to do is to look at your image and identify where you can see the darkest tones. So I can see some dark tones behind the plant, in the helmet, and a little bit into the background and sort of underneath where he sat. So what I'm going to do now is with my pencil, I'm going to add some dark, the darkest shading I can into those areas. So I'm just doing small lines, small hatching lines. And I'm just going slowly as to not go over any of those areas that I don't want to work into. Okay, so once you're happy with all the dark tones, what you're next going to do is to work into all the mid-tones. So these are the tones that are in between the dark tones and the light tones, so all the mid-tones. So this means you're going to press slightly lighter with your pencil and maybe not layer as much as you did with your darker tones. So all I'm doing is looking at my image and identifying where those mid-tones are. You might find that when you're working in the space that is just easy for you to finish off the light tones, so you might want to just work into those areas as well. Okay, so once you get to a stage where you're happy with all your tone, what you're then going to do is go back to your 2B pencil and you're going to go around the edge of the image and you're going to add this thin dark line to create the cartoon effect that Heine shows within his work.